just speak over you. Hi guys, we're gathering here at the front of the Singapore office, the town hall area. If you're in the Singapore office, can I encourage you to come to the front? Today we have a interesting feature from Jerry. He's going to share something he's building, and it's not what you have heard before. It's a new build. So do come forward to learn more about it. You need to. Give me a few minutes to make sure everyone is here. Oh no. Okay, thanks guys. Keep coming to the front, please. Grab a seat. Okay, hi everyone. Welcome to another week, another show and tell. This week we have fewer residents here. The others are traveling and all that. We are going to start today with one of our residents, Ajith. He's going to do his show and tell first before we get Jerry up here to share what he's been building that is not Mogul. And he can give us a update on Mogul as well. Okay, Ajith, over to you.
Okay, yeah, cool. Hey guys, just show of hands, how many of you use LinkedIn? Yeah, okay. How many of you like LinkedIn? Okay. Uh, and then, like, how many of you have like inbound spam? Okay, only one. Wow, so popular. Yeah, I guess he doesn't even check inbound. Okay, anyway, the reason is because, I think we've been trying to, I think for a long time, people have been trying to figure out what is going to be like a LinkedIn replacement, right? So since I was at the fund, this was the same thing. We used to do a lot of outbound, there was a lot of inbound, there's so much of spam. And I think I'm starting to see like some semblance of a replacement. So that's what today's presentation is about. So I use this tool called Boardy, Boardy. It's a chatbot tool that essentially it connects to WhatsApp or email or even any kind of messenger service that you Discord even. And what it does is effectively think about it as your agent, right? Like imagine if you're like I don't know, an actor or a singer, and your agent needs to negotiate with the producer of a movie. So similarly here, this is your kind of agent that who knows your context and who negotiates with agents of other people to figure out whether there's a good match between the two of you. And so I've been using it both for like outbound in the US when I go there for just connecting with potential customers or even trying to find hires. And yeah, I thought I'll just kind of show what I've been doing with that. That's it. Yeah. So firstly, yeah, like I think you can obviously prompt a chatbot to ask it for context, and it can give you stuff. But over here, it kind of moves from passive to quite active. Every day it kind of surfaces a few people, or it kind of actively goes out there and talks on behalf of you to other people. And then if someone wants to connect with you, it'll ask you, hey, like it's a double opt-in intro. And then you click a button that says, yes, accept invite. And then it'll make a connection on email. And if it and because it has connection to my calendar, it'll also just add in a calendar request, right? It also has kind of memory, right? So for example, like if I want to kind of change what I've been doing, I ask it like, hey, like, can you go through it? What do you think? And then it can also kind of be like a coach and tell you, okay, like overall, it's a B plus. This is what you need to do to change so that you can attract this kind of person to want to talk to you. And then, yeah, I think this is a cool thing. So typically, right, like, I mean, when you're hiring or when you're talking to people, you're kind of looking, different times you're looking for different things. And sometimes, all you want is aptitude and interest, right? So that's what this was about. Like I was trying to look for like a technical hire in the US. And then essentially I said, hey, like, can you suggest something? And it asked me like, what kind of background are you looking for? Do they need robotics, computer vision experience? And I said, we don't really need experience, just interest and aptitude. And then it found like two people that was exactly like that, which is like, they didn't have too much of experience, but have done some project somewhere and kind of just generally interested. Other people in the valley maybe was not so interested in them. And then yeah, like typically I would just like click on accept over here. Okay, so these names are okay because this is they've chosen to put it on a public platform, so that's why it's here. But yeah, and then I accept, and then it makes a connection request, and then connects them on my calendar. Right? The cool thing is that, yeah, this is something that's quite insane. So the first time I came across this was like there was this one also works as a voice agent. So like, when you're interviewing people, so I was applying to like an accelerator, and then like this Bodhi agent interviewed me for the first 30 minutes. And it's amazing because you can like be as long-winded as you want and be very dense, and it'll rephrase and paraphrase to exactly the core essence of what you're talking about. Like, I mean, just like what chatbots do, but then this is like over voice, right? And depending on whatever channel you're talking, there's like channel-specific compression that applies essentially, right? Depends on where you want to put it. That's kind of about Body, and I think like it's kind of a glimpse of where networking is going and and obviously they're building their own social graph parallel to LinkedIn, right? Because right now I could import my LinkedIn connections as well. In the future, I guess, we don't have to accept invitations, or it'll just be people like Body making connections and it landing in your calendar directly. So that's about it. Any questions? I've been using it for about 4 months now. So
Any questions?
okay, sounds good.
Any other questions? Nope. All right, thank you, Ajit. All right, next up we will have Jerry. Woo!
All right, today we're going to talk about Carousell.ai, something interesting, this term that we came out with recently called agentic recommerce. But before I get into it, I think a lot of you remember that 2 weeks ago we shared about Mogul. and how we wanted to test really quickly how whether anybody would be interested in a platform like this. So the answer is no. We reached out to 100 people. Only about 28 responded, out of which 4 had a deep conversation with us, and none of them wanted to have this product, right? So very quickly we killed it, and the past 2 weeks we've been working in a direction that was already on our mind, and that is agentic e-commerce. So what exactly it is this. The past 14 years, I think all of you are very familiar with Snap, List, and Sell. And now we want to use the emerging technology to take one step further, which is to own the close. So our idea here is to use agents to help us to snap, list, sell, and close. The user experience will be, you take a photo, you ask somebody to help you sell it, and then the next time you talk to this person would be taking money, right? Receiving money. That's it. Somebody else will handle everything for you. The mission here is we want to distribute everywhere because we are not just looking at Southeast Asia as the market. We are looking at global. Right? And how can we leverage existing marketplaces to distribute everywhere? And what we want to do is we want to be the de facto checkout rails so that any informal marketplace transactions will go through us, Carousell. And through that, we will become a truly global informal marketplace player. Right? And our go-to-market is SF. Any point you have any question, just stop me, right? I'm just going to share and ramble on. All right, how exactly are we going to do it? We are building 3 things. Carousell.ai is our second-hand marketplace for agents. What does this mean? It means that it is optimized, it is generative engine optimized, so that other buyer agents, other frontier models, when you use ChatGPT or Claude, if you want to buy anything second-hand, our listings should appear first. So that's the first one, Carousell.ai. Second is our Carousell.ai MCP, meaning if you want to list anything through an agent, we have an MCP that will help you do the listing. It will send the checkout rails, checkout links, things like that. Last but not least, our very own Sally agent. Sally agent will be the person that I mentioned to you earlier on, where you tell, hey Sally, help me sell this thing, right? A few moments later, maybe a day, 2 days, or 3 days later, Sally come back to you and say, hey Jerry, I'm done, here's your money, right? So that's the experience that we're trying to build. How does it look like in an overview? If you guys have your screen, you can use it. I don't think it's very clear here, right? So from the seller's perspective, here I am. I will want to sell something. It will be as easy as sending one message or taking one photo, snap, right? That's the first step, and sending it to Sally. Sally is your local agent. It will do the research, the listing to multiple channels, here existing marketplaces. It will do the listing to our Carousell AI marketplace. It will also, in the process of listening to the existing marketplaces, see whether you have any listings over there and steal of them and bring it to Carousell.ai, right? And then at the end, through the negotiation, Sally talking to a buyer, hey, do you want to buy this for $50? And if the person want to lowball, say $2, to and fro, maybe they'll settle at a price of like 25. At this point, Sally will use the MCP to generate a checkout link to send to this potential buyer. Be it they are on Carousell or Facebook or Craigslist, wherever they are. As long as we own this piece, we earn a slice of the informal marketplace globally. All right, so again, to sum it up, we are building Sally, we are building Carousell.ai, and within Carousell.ai, there's MCP for Sally to use and for any other agent subsequently. All right, I'm not going to go into too much details over here. This is how Sally works. Sally is a local agent. It runs on your local so that we don't need to deal with trust and safety. You own your own logins, your credentials. You have its own runtime. It uses your local to go to the browser and interact on the platform that you're logged in. For example, Facebook Marketplace. So we don't need to handle authentication, all this stuff as well. All right. So without further ado, a bunch of skills that Sally already have from day one. We are going to see how it works. Right. So here's the demo. Wish me luck. Pray to the demo gods. Okay. So on the left, this is the interface. It's any channel, right? You can interact with Sally through your Telegram or WhatsApp or just the terminal, whichever is your preference. And then on the right, I'll pull out the browser that Sally will operate and control. Let me put this down. And now we're going to demonstrate live selling experience. So I'm going to use my phone because I have Telegram on my phone. And I'm going to go to my Sally. Whatever I do here, you'll be able to see on the screen. Sally is a cat. You can see the logo over there. All right. So I'm going to take a snap of a photo. This is the quote that I really like. It's called "If Anybody Builds It, Everybody Dies." It's about AI. And I'm going to do two photos. One send, and then the other I'm going to send just now. All right. So two images, and that's it. Sally is off and working, right? So you can see that Sally is typing, Sally is thinking. At this point, actually, on the backend, what it's doing is waiting for 8 seconds. So that if I want to send in more images, it will handle it. And then now it's asking me, do you want to buy this or do you want to sell it? You can do both, but for this purpose, we're going to share the selling experience. I'm telling Sally, we want to sell this. All right, on it, I'll review the photos and do some research, then come back with the price. If you were to do this on your own to list on Carousell or Facebook Marketplace, probably you'll do this, right? You go to Google, you search for this product, you find the price. You do some basic research, description, and then you go to the listing process. So all of this is being handled by Sally over here. So Sally is working on it. While Sally is working on it, I will share a little bit more. Oh, Sally is too fast. Okay. So it looks like if anyone builds it, everybody dies book by, I don't know how to pronounce the name, and it's asking me for some information. Sally is suggesting that we sell this at $20, so I will do that. I will set a floor price so that if anybody want to negotiate, Sally will help me to hold the floor. Sally will also compare across different potential buyers. If there's an offer that's above the floor price, you will adopt that as the most recent floor price, right? So for the seller, we will always get the best deal because Sally is doing a negotiation for us, right? So I'm going to say my floor price is 10, and then last but not least, this is a used book. I love it, right? Whatever information you want to add, and off it goes. And so, got it, right? So here, there's a bit of a interesting thing happening, which I learned from Instagram. Not sure if you guys know it, but let me read this first. Right, got it. Reviewing your answers and listing to Carousell.ai, to Carousell, to Facebook, and also to Facebook Marketplace. And then immediately listed to Carousell.ai because it's the fastest. It's via MCP. Yeah, and then it will subsequently go and operate this browser to go to Carousell, go to Facebook to create a listing by controlling the browser. This part will be slower. It's designed this way so that we can do any marketplace. Yes. So holding on to this. All right. Are you guys familiar with how Instagram was able to give you that super fast uploading experience 15 years ago? All right. So when you upload an image, in the background, they are already when you snap an image through the posting process while you are doing your captioning, the image is already uploaded to the cloud. So by the time you're done captioning, the loading bar will just like, and then you're done. Right? So all the users will feel like, wow, Instagram is so fast. Right? So similarly, just now when we were still talking to Sally, it already has all the information. So it already like went ahead and post to Carousell.ai. All right, so Carousell.ai is designed for agents first, but humans can also interact with it. It is infrastructure light. We don't need to build any chat function. There's only the listing page. There are things for the agents, other agents to read. So things about this listing, if you want to negotiate with this listing, you can just check out the MCP here and communicate. For a human, if they want to buy, they can just tap on the checkout rail and check out. And Carousell's position here is to offer the buyer's protection so that anybody that wants to do informal marketplace transactions, we offer them convenience via shipping and escrow and buyer's protection. And that's the game that we are playing. All right, so let me go back and share a little bit more over here. We don't have a chat function here. So if you come to this page and you want to negotiate and buy it at a cheaper rate, you can go to Carousell, because we are also cross-listing it there. You can go to Facebook Marketplace. After it's done listing, it will show here. So the user can just use the chat function of other platforms to do the negotiation. And Sally is also monitoring those. All right, so let me go back to my deck. This is Sally. Sally is an open source project. We want to start with internal open source first to get more developers to help us build. Currently on the team, it's Siure, myself, and Ben. We hope that more developers will join us so that we can have more channels, we can build more better negotiation rails, be harness agnostics, agnostic, be model agnostic, and so on and so forth. All right, that's all. If you have any question, you can ask me now. Yeah.
Questions?
That's right. You can see, while we are talking, right, we'll just let it run. Sally is done listing on Carousell.ai. Now it is just operating the browser to list to Carousell.com because we don't have NCP on Carousell.com, right? So it is doing it on its own. If you hide this browser, it will just happen on the background. And yes, it's already connected to Facebook Marketplace. So the next thing after it's done with the Carousell.com listing, you will go to Facebook. And you can imagine, you want to post on Mercari, to Depop, to Vinted, any other marketplace, it can be done because it's running on the local. Yeah. A little bit of interesting technical stuff that's happening here is that we cannot let Sally operate this browser like an AI agent. Means it cannot blaze through this process. Why? Because if we have the fingerprint of like an agent, right, and then Facebook Marketplace will pick it up and ban the user account, right? So it's operating near human speed. And it's doing this thing called jitter. Like pretend that it is browsing a bit, thinking a bit, and then fill in the information, then post. Yeah. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, on the payment side, is there anything that we are making it a bit more seamless? Because now Visa, MasterCard, and they are also gearing up to the agentic way of payments.
All right, so actually the payment is not our forte, right? So we are just using Stripe payment. What we are offering on top of that is our escrow. Yeah, and then we are also offering the trust and safety, essentially, for anybody who want to transact. Why? Because we don't believe that Stripe will want to do that, or MasterCard will want to do that, and this is right in our lane. Yeah.
Thank you.
So answer is no. We are just going to use what they build, but we're going to build things that are more relevant to us.
Any other questions?
Just go for it, just go for it.
So right now, if we look at your flow, actually you can also click through to say Carousell and Facebook and all. But you're also saying that we want to make it sure that all the other channels don't pick up that we are doing this, so they won't block us. So moving forward, then if they do find out about this, then what will happen to all those other links? Or how will we then continue this?
How would we then continue this? Okay, so the reason why we decided to build local, right, is because we wanted, initially we wanted to build a cloud service where we host your agent for you and it will help you to post everywhere. Along the process, we realized that it's not so user-friendly. They don't have these APIs or MCPs exposed for us to go and post. And then we wanted to host for them, but that will require us to hold the credentials for the user, which is very dangerous for us. So we decided to do open source plus run on your local, and the users will do it themselves. Right? And the initial ICP are developers. We think that the industry will move towards some player will build this infrastructure. Some player will build a agentic hosted agent thing for the daily consumer. but it is not us. So what we should do at this point when all this infrastructure is not there is to build the negotiating experience, the agent that can do the close, and the trust and safety layer.
Thank you.
One last one from my end is how is the distribution of it planned? Because like if you see like there are plugins through the latest release of Cloud plugin for small business kind of a thing. Like is it something the direction we are looking at, or what is how is the distribution looking like?
So you're thinking of how we leverage the existing harnesses and
How would the user experience it and get access to it?
All right. So it is gonna be open source. You go to the GitHub, you get the installation, you clone it to your local, you set it up, and then you run. Right. And how are we gonna get people to this GitHub page in the first place? Of course, the very basic level one will be product hunt. You get all the different influencers to talk about it. I think majority of the GTM experience will be talked to a lot of developers, both locally and actually more so in SF. Yeah. And then, which is why we don't want to start as a zero community repo. We want to start internally first, and we get a lot of people build on it. And then once we release, there's really traction on it. Yeah. On the note of Claude, we do know people in Anthropic. So my strategy would be to talk to the, because the market invested in them, and then one of these guys is very close to me. So I'm gonna get into their system to try to distribute it. Yeah. Okay, so why is it hanging right now, right? Sorry, I didn't realize this. It's because, look at this message. Sally did a quick check on Carousell, and using the pricing feature that you all built, it realized that quick check before I list the book on Carousell plus Facebook. You said $20, but Carousell's own similar sold data for this title shows more like $10. So it's asking me whether I want to change my pricing or list anyway. Yeah, that's why it's over here right now. Okay, before I end, let me just scroll through a bit of other things so that you can see. For example, here, this.
One question. So this is a follow-up of this issue. So why we are using the UI to publish the listing? Why don't you directly hit the API endpoints? Why necessarily need to open a browser for that?
Why is it necessary to open a browser for it? For let's say Facebook Marketplace, they don't have API for listings. Okay. Yeah, they don't have MCPs as well. Yeah. So what we want to do is we want to do a Trojan horse strategy in the US market, where we use their distribution. We don't want to build it, right? And then use their infrastructure, their chat, their messenger. We list it on theirs, but we own the checkout.
Yeah. Okay. But again, this issue can hit any point of time, right? The UI can be changing. It can get confused.
Right. That's right. So what we have here is, this is a very good question. Prior to this demonstration, actually yesterday, the process is that you will open the browser, you will take a screenshot, and then you will plan based on the UI of the screenshot, and then take the next step. And the listing process can take like 30 minutes for three markets. So the current process is that you will run through the first time, and then you'll record that, oh, these are already in place. Right? I will just inspect, and then I will know where the different elements are. I will store it locally, and then the next listing process will just be based on those. And once it gets stuck, then you will take a screenshot and then correct itself.
But there could be captchas also. It could be detected by the bots and deactivate the account also, right?
That's right. That's why we have a few things in place. The jittering, the user have to log into the browser themselves. We don't own any of those credentials for the local experience. Okay, thanks. And last part before I end for today would be this. So Sally went to Facebook, and Sally noted that there's this user who's interested in buying my Logitech mouse, and is asking for to arrange for delivery, right? But for the checkout to not be owned by us is not in our favor. We don't want them to meet up or do the delivery in any other way. So Sally is actually being programmed, .md file, to whenever there's a situation like this, it will come back to the user and say, hey, this person is ready to buy, to make the purchase, to check out. Do you want me to send this person the checkout link and I'll handle the logistics, the delivery, and payment? You just wait. Or you want me to hand it to you now and you go and do everything else manually? So the approach that we are taking is we don't want to paywall certain things. The seller is paying nothing, right? The approach that we're taking is to make the experience so good for the seller that it's a no-brainer for me to click send checkout link. Because do it any other way means I need to work. But clicking on send checkout link means I just wait for money to come. Yeah, so that's one of the core principles that we really want to adhere to for Carousell.ai agent experience. All right, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
It's live on Carousell. It's not going to Facebook. Yeah. So Carousell is live over here, successfully listed. It's now working on Facebook and on Hotmail. Oh, call to action. Developers, if you are interested to join this internal open source, DM me on Slack, and then we'll hook you up, and then you can help me to build so that I have less work. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry. Adib, you're next.
Hello. Okay, so like I think last week I mentioned that I participated in some sprint, right? TLDR kind of won, so kind of now go have credit. So like now have credits and then like have people like asking to GTM for that. But the thing is, I think before I start, I think the general idea was how can I extract anything B2B related to architecture and construction into like a B2C app. But I guess like on the macro level, I just needed data to be able to create geometry automatically lah. And the thing is, relying on a B2B practice has been really hard because like sharing is very hard. But then I realized there are like so many apps like Pinterest, Cosmos, etc., where information is like abound. So long story short, kind of just like productize that instead. Because like by being able to generate geometry through this application, it feeds back upstream into whatever we need to do. So like win-win lah. So one sec, yeah. Okay, so like it's a really long like hackathon name. It's called Personal Practice Intelligence. Ideally, it's the idea is that it's a B2C application that grows with the practitioner. So from the first day they are in school, all the way to when they are at site and learning like the ropes of how to actually build anything in architecture lah. So okay, long story short too, it's just trying to get their taste preferences and I guess their judgment, as this will all like come into what they eventually built in real life. So like generally like I think all of us use Pinterest, we use like Cosmos. Me personally, I take so many photos and I don't know where I place them. So like all this judgment that we have and we create like on that spot, it rarely survives. Like the thing is we don't know where it goes. And in architecture, it's kind of worse. You take a photo, you have your coordination meeting, you have like whatever, and then the thing is it just dies there. And like the thing is you can go to another meeting and you have the same problem, and then you don't like replicate it because technically you kind of forget because it might be like yesterday or even like months ago. So yeah, generally like what we've always been building for the B2B side is Agentic Colleague, the orchestrator for all the AEC software. So like right now, this personal practice intelligence, very long, need a better name. It's just like practice memory pretty much. So the thing is, before like this sprint, I think I spent like 3 days talking to practitioners, and generally the sensing is the same. We don't remember anything we do every day. Like we can have like nice floor plans, red lines, drawings, but the thing is, we only communicate and it dies there at the desktop. So the moment we leave office, it doesn't like travel with us at all, unless Teams lah, but I think that's a separate story altogether. So like on a high level, definitely like there's a lot of improvements needed to be made because it's a hackathon sprint, so the code base is really ugly. And how it works is that, okay, so let's say for example, I'm not sure if everyone has used My Mind app before. It's a really nice app. And I think that's like pretty much the inspiration for this further front-end experience improvement, but also what we will be able to do on the server side. So definitely same thing. Like let's say you are on site, you see like a nice facade wall that your contractor is building, and then you just take a quick capture, and then like the card loads, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, on the back end, pretty much what happens is that we rely on like EXA, OpenAI, etc., to do web search. So get like your proper specification sheets, your manufacturer standards, and examples of where this has been built before. So you form like a knowledge base. And once that is all done, we kind of ping out to like Autodesk and Rhino servers to create the geometry. So how it works is that at the moment during the sprint, we kind of host all the servers on our side lah. But so the idea is the same. Like every time you create geometry, it's the same step. You create a rectangle, you extrude, etc., etc. So all of this becomes like a knowledge graph, and that's the reason why we need more data. So like this app is just like a funnel to get more data. So like on the practitioner side, say they have already created blah, blah, blah geometry, and then they now have like their own repository of information that they can kind of grow up with. And this kind of supports back because it will be able to teach them like downtime, etc., like how to build, how to structure something without having to always like find your next senior practitioner to ask. Because I think the problem with tribal knowledge is that if someone is not there, then pretty much nobody knows how to do anything lah. So yeah, okay, so blah blah. So right now, like as a standalone product, I think it's still deserving of it's pretty much a journal. It's a journal that grows up with the practitioner, but on the B2B side, it goes upstream. So like say your taste and judgment that you have formed in the knowledge graph from the app, it feeds back into whatever we've been building for Agentic Colleague. I guess like I think it's like a lot of like yeah papaya. So like I just share with you the quicker like demo video. So this was how it's supposed to look like that time. Okay, so like blah blah blah. Let's say you go on site, and then you find like a nice facade thing that your contractor has been building. But the thing is, you have zero idea how they built it, right? Because like generally they don't share information like that. So let's say you have already like uploaded. So like your LLMs and your orchestrators in the background gather all this information that is needed. It bounces the ideas with you. And like once it is all done and like, I guess at a stage where a draft is usable, then like we start pinging onto like Autodesk's server to create like the 3D geometry. And the good thing about this is that it kind of helps the practitioner learn how to build, because definitely like 3D geometry in real life. So everything is accurate and ready for fabrication per se. So yeah, pretty much it grows over time. And ta-da, yeah. And then like how that works is that, so this one, I shield like whatever I'm doing now, yeah. So, so let's say, so for Agentic Colleague, how it works is, yeah. So the hardest part of delegating like in architecture and construction isn't really the work, it's the preparation, which takes more time than anything. So Agentic Colleague is like blah, 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 like you send off a bounded task, it understands the flow, and now that it has the database of geometry that needs to be created, then it can start building all the geometry that you need. So like it bounces between the different software, going from design to construction, and it's just like a colleague that I guess everybody would love to have, but like not like 10,000 interns lah. Like it's an extended version of yourself that does like the technical grunt, which takes more time than the actual design process itself. So yeah. Also, okay, so for context, so this project being demoed on is the current live project in Singapore. So like right now, like the mainstay is mostly facades because that's like the most time-consuming work as compared to like drawing like your walls, etc. So I think the problem now is that, oh no, so now I have to try and toggle between the B2B part and the B2C part. But I'm hoping that like the base, which is still the servers that we own and the geometry that we own and the knowledge graphs that we have, is able to fit into each other. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Adib. Any questions for Adib?
Thank you.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Adib.
you.
All right. Kind of sprung a surprise on Sham here, but we have more time. So today, Sham is going to share his personal build with us.
Thank you. Hey, hello everyone. I'm Shyam. This is a surprise talk, so I don't have any slides. I haven't prepared for this talk. Uh, so I have been working on one of the project called TuckRite in the previous few months. Uh, so I'm working as a lead test automation engineer, and primarily I have been focusing on the mobile UI testing, and that's where my expertise is in. So I have been for the last 1 decade, then I have been primarily focusing on the mobile UI automation. Uh, so I know all the pains of mobile UI automation when it comes to compared to the web and API testing. So I was trying to see how we can simplify, minimize everything. Uh, so Playwright is getting very popular with the web testing nowadays. So I thought like, why don't you create something similar to the Playwright? So I just extended Playwright's framework for Appium. Appium was another popular mobile automation, so that everyone who know Playwright, they can easily onboard as the mobile automation. So this is in beta right now. So you can install it with this command. Then let's say my goal was like once you install, how fast you can onboard as how faster you can run your first project, right? So let's say I have a command called npx tuckwrite init. So it will ask you, okay, so where you want to create your location. But by default, it's tuckwrite test, so I'm giving it as default. This is the folder where all your tests supposed to go. So just since I'm using a MacBook, it will ask me, okay, I have both Android and iOS option. If you're running it on Windows, you get only Android option. So I'm just giving only Android for now. Now it just check whether there are some prerequisites supposed to install on your machine. So it just check whether you have everything on your machine. So I have almost everything. Now, since I already created some emulator on my machine, it will ask you, okay, so I'm gonna create some sample test for you. So which emulator you would like to use? So I'm selecting the first one, Pixel 10 Pro XL. Then I already created a sample APK file and I already open sourced it that one. So it will try to download that APK file and it will generate some login test cases for you and it's in the ready to run format. So it's gonna take some time. Yeah, then it will automatically install all the dependencies that needed. Yep. So if you look at this folder, what it has been generated, so you can see that in the test folder, there are some example specs has been here, and I have 3 different test cases over here. Now, let's say you want to run that one. So I'm going inside this folder. I'm running npx text. So what happens is that you already selected your emulator, right? It will be automatically spin off. It will try to find out that, okay, so I need to boot the emulator. Then it will try to run all these 3 tests and you will get back the result. So that's how easy it is to run your first test. So along with that one, another problem statement I was trying to solve is like, let's say, how fast you can write a new test. So especially if you're using APM, there is something called APM inspector. So how does it work? Like, for example, username, password page, there will be unique locator strategies for that particular user. And you need to construct if it has ID, you can use that one, or CSS, UI automator, so many other strategies are there. So I thought like, okay, let's build something like a code gen similar to the Playwright. Playwright, something called code gen, where you can record a browser and create the test and you can do it. So I tried to do something like that. So all the tests are passed here. So I will quickly show how does the code gen also look like. So for the command, it's again, write code gen. Yeah, so it will open this URL on your browser. Now you have different option. Either you can play with your local emulator simulator, Or if you have the cloud device account, so you can connect to right now Lambda test and browser stack you can play with. For example, let's say if you have a Windows machine, but you don't have any iPhone with you, so if you have the subscription to the cloud device, you can connect from your Windows machine and still play with the iOS device. So here, I just going to play with a sample emulator. So you need to start the server, APM server first, go to the next button. Since this is already started, it will be in the live. So I'm gonna reuse that one, you select it. Then it will ask you, okay, so if you have an APK file, just use that one. So it will automatically create all the necessary capabilities for you and you can connect it. So once it connect, then you can see the screen. Let's say if I want to inspect this particular element, for example, let's say login button, then you can see that corresponding locator strategy here. And it will suggest you what the best recommended strategy depends on all the options. There is no AI here. So basically it's all algorithms. So let's say you want to record something, what you can do, like you can type something like, okay, so Emma, it will be coming out here, then let's see, and password. Then you see that it's getting recorded. Then you want to log in. Then I want to assert the view all button is over here. So there is an assert tab. I'm checking visible is here. If you look at the recorder script, you can see that it is already recorded. Now what do you need to do like, okay, copy this, ask Cloud, okay, here is my script for logging functionality, create the, integrate this to my existing one. So again, you can build the agentic part over here once you get that one. So I'm trying to make it all this thing autonomous right now. So you don't need to open it all. You just specify this is in a plain English, like login, verify the home page, and give me the output. So it could be working both way. One, it can get it in deterministic script. Second one, it could be act as an autonomous testing. So that part I'm still working on it. But this part I already open sourced. So right now, how many? Yeah, still low. It's 454 downloads per week and 15 stars so far. Oh, this is my highest stars on GitHub so far. So appreciate if you can also start this repository over here. So I have already open sourced it. So interestingly, I got an pull request from a vendor called digital.ia. So this guy is the CEO of digital.ia, want to integrate his device WAM also to the, along with the browser stack and Lambda test. Then I realized that my code is not so good to integrate, so I need to refactor before I need to approve this PR. Yeah, so that's it. So you can play around it, especially if you have a requirement to automate any of the mobile tests. So it's quite easy to use. So I try to make it all the complex process of mobile automation so easy. For example, let's say you want to drag and drop something. So it's easy as your first element dot drag to whatever be the element that you would like to drag to. So I'm trying to hide all the complexities of mobile automation here. Yeah, so it's still in progress. So if you would like to contribute to the repository, you are welcome to. Yeah, that's it. Any questions?
Thank you. Questions for Sham? No questions?
No one is working on mobile app, right?
Anyone online wants to ask Sham questions? No? All right. Thank you, Sham.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, with that, we've come to the end of this week's show and tell. Just
Pete, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. Who's that?
Me.
Oh, yeah, Ace. Okay, go ahead. Are you doing a show and tell or are you asking questions?
I can do a show and tell. Wait, am
Okay.
I lagging really bad? I think my Wi-Fi is really bad.
You're lagging a little bit.
Sorry, wait, let me try and
Your audio is okay, but visuals are not.
Okay, I will try and fix it. Wait, give me
Okay,
2
yeah.
seconds.
We can see you now.
Oh, I think it's okay now. Okay. Sorry, it's like 5 a.m.
You're in San Fran?
I'm in Boston right now. I just moved into Harvard like 2 days ago. Yeah, but it's super fun. So, does my screen show? Okay. Wait, I'm gonna like assume that like
Yeah, Ace, you have hung.
and like my personal schedule updates every morning. So it's like it just crossed through like my Google Calendar and like a few news sources that I pointed to, like for example Reuters or TechCrunch or whatever, as well as like my mail and things like that. And it just gives me like a daily digest in the form of a Telegram message. But so I did that because I was very lazy. But then I realized that I was even lazier and like I simply am not reading everything or like processing like all of the stuff because like I think like everyone like knows that models are always moving very fast. Like the industry moves very fast. Like there's always like some like new thing happening. So I essentially wanted to build something that could auto crawl, I guess, like specifically what I'm interested in, which is like AI legal cases. So cases ongoing, closed, pending, whatever, to do with like tech or like IP or stuff like that. Especially because like a few weeks back, I had a lunch. Like I came to lunch with the Carousell legal team. Then they were like talking to me about like tech and law and like sort of like the intersection of that. So I was feeling very inspired. So I was like, okay. So essentially, I built like a few research agents to crawl the web every 2 days and look for cases specifically within a few types, like let's say licensing and contract or like consumer protection. And then based on this, I'm able to like do like a web visualization where like each blue node is a case and each purple node is a case type. So over here, for example, you can see like a bunch of blue nodes clustered very tightly around these specific case types, which I feel like is really useful for me to visualize because then I can see like, okay, like training data as well as copyright and open source and licensing is always like quite interrelated when it comes to cases because cases probably don't fall just under one category. Then if I want to, I can go ahead and click into this and basically read more specifically on like a case brief as well as I can see like specific laws and regulations. So for example, under the DMCA, like 1202, there are like 7 cases that have been brought up. And I can also see actors. So I can also search by actors. So for example, I was like quite curious about OpenAI 20 minutes ago. So like it just like pulls up a bunch of like OpenAI's cases, for instance, and then you can see that like they have a lot of issues to do with like AI safety, consumer as well, privacy and like governance. So then I also wanted to see this over a timeline. So essentially like I enable this thing where I can sort of like let it play out and see how like issues are developing or adding across like from the start of 2025 to now, like every single month. And then at the bottom it just like has like a more like uh consolidated view, I guess. But I would say like my like biggest difficulty with it was sort of like putting it into like the different buckets as well as like the as well as um how to say essentially like my node logic because at the start before I had all of these filters on my first scroll and messy web. So then I color coding, like the proximity of the nodes mean like how closely it is related to like a specific topic or issue, for instance, or like how I'm able to like sort of improve the like UI so that when I like zoom into one case, it kind of like focuses and spotlights just that case. Yeah, then for every case is like as accurate as it could be, I just like scraped two sources and then I had to like point it to like a list of like, well, like yeah. That's basically what I was building before.
Thank you, Ace. Okay, any questions?
Hi, Serena here. So thanks for sharing that. Really, really exciting actually. Wanted to also understand. So we were also trying to build something like that in-house, and we used to pay people or Lexology and all these trackers because they have access to all this information. I'm very interested to actually know how you manage to get over some few points. So some of the difficulties we had was, okay, one, access to information. A number of these pages are either in a paywall or different language or, not updated. And then the second one was also, when we were building this for like update, because we want it to be maybe every 1 week or every 2 weeks, for example, we get the updates for the past 2 weeks. But we kept getting it for like the past few months or years. We couldn't really time box it because, you want the updates to be as regular on that basis. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, I think to the second point first, like the way I did it was to just sort everything onto a timeline, and then it's like, for me, like it runs every 2 days, so actually I should see more duplicate or like messy data in a sense. So like then I just ensure that it deduplicates like with like the past like data. So then when I like shift that timeline and I like shift it to just like let's say maybe this week, then like I can ensure that that's like actually like from this week. And then to the point of like paywall and stuff, I guess like my problem specifically is not about like scraping like the case itself, like the general details. I think for that because usually it's like triangulated across like a few sources. So I think that's okay. The way I do it is just I make sure it scrapes at least to like up to like 5 sources. But for me, the problem I'm facing right now, which I'm trying to fix this week, is um, essentially it's hard to get certain case details because they are like, as you mentioned, gated behind paywall or like numerous like very like complex. I don't know. It's just like hidden in some like back of some registry or like some whatever website. So I guess like to populate like the details of the cases, what I'm seeing like to like find the case itself like is a bit more direct from what I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ace?
Earlier on, when you were talking about the data visualization, I think you got cut off. I noticed that the size of the nodes are different, and then you mentioned something about the distance between the nodes. And I'm also assuming there's some kind of, is it a 3D graph? And if it's a 3D graph, I have a quick suggestion, which is to make the background image something like a tunnel, right? So you can better visualize that there's some depth into the graph. Yeah. Can you share more about
Okay.
the
Yeah.
visualization?
Yeah, it is a 3D graph actually, which wait, great point because I was like, Loki does not look 3D. So that would be useful. Yeah, no, honestly, like I don't know, this is like still quite ugly. Like I just tried to like fix the UI of this. So essentially like each node represents either like an individual slash company like actor as well as like the like cases and then the like topics. And then the like proximity is just like the proximity of the case to like a specific topic. So for example, like with like security or like consumer protection or whatever, granted that most cases fall not so neatly into like one or two categories. So I wanted to be able to like have like a sort of like relational like thing. And then in terms of the node sizes right now, it's just on based on so for example, like if like the clusters the purple nodes, if it's bigger, it just means that there are like more cases under that cluster. But like if it's a smaller node, it's just like less cases. And then the rest of the nodes are like pretty much the same size. Yeah. I've only done like sizing for
Well, I
like
was
that.
just thinking
Yeah.
that maybe the size can be correlated to something like public interest or whoever's
Oh
interest,
yeah.
right? Then that would be quite interesting. Anyway, I think it's a really cool project and would love to see it grow.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I think that would be interesting to like sort of like put in like sort of like the public's maybe reaction or like interest or like yeah, okay. Super cool. Thank you so much for the suggestions.
All right. Okay, thanks, Ace. Thanks, everyone, for dialing in or joining for this week's session. We'll see you again next week. Thank you.